Video about a bunch of mathematical features of trading and how there's this deep structure, the mathematics behind it. But one of the things I didn't really go over that I wanted to, so this is like an addendum, I guess that's more of a predendum, of how these candlestick patterns we've all been taught are really derived from some of this underlying structure. One of the things I do is draw trend lines. So all four of these are trend lines coming from a much higher up spot. So you can see kind of they're drawn from the highest spot as they go up. And what I wanted to show here was how these trend structures get respected, and then on the other direction also respected, and then broken through, and then retested. But that creates these candlestick patterns that we're used to, like a cup and handle. Here's a perfect example of it where you have a recent peak. So this would have been another one I could have. We could put that in, and then you have a separate, on the other hand, you have the bottom getting formed here, but it's also a rejection of this previous trend line. So you have the initial peak that forms a cup, and then here's the bottom of it, and then the handle up here is when it breaks through this line, and often these can be like a horizontal price line as well, but then it comes back down, retests the original trend line. It breaks through this one, but doesn't quite make it to this one, which gives it that strength. And that's how you know that this cup and handle is actually going to turn into a higher move. And because it doesn't here, it actually fails here. There's a lot more upward resistance, but overall, this is still an upward trending move. And that's all part of these trend lines that are historical. This is why I don't delete them right away, because price will often interact with them again in later ways. Like you can see it, price trying to reach up above this trend line. So even though price is increasing here, this is a bearish signal, because it's like that. What would normally be the handle to break through it doesn't have enough to even break through this line, and it keeps getting pushed below the trend line. So you know that this is probably not when you want to be in right here. Whereas once it comes back here, this is when you might want to be in, because it's got a higher probability of a big move up. Because there's a higher high, and then this would be the higher low, but also because it's on, and it's the higher low is defined by these bottom trend lines. But then once it breaks through, it's going to have enough to burst through all of these, the next two of these trend lines. So that's, I just thought it was really fascinating, though, because we're all taught these shapes, like a cup and handle or inverted head and shoulders here, which is another bullish sign. But nobody ever really talks about why these patterns form, like what they're forming from. And what they're forming from is either the acceptance or rejection of these historical trend lines.